John, we're ready to go. You've had me giggling away. We're going to start. It's from 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Could you possibly count us down, please?
I'll try to.
Okay,
5.
we'll have to put the battery in first. Here we go. There we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Is it right that you have a Russian grandmother?
I do have a Russian grandmother, or I did, and she thought that I spoke Russian, which I didn't, which was embarrassing towards the end of her life, because she would talk, and I wouldn't understand a word of what she was saying.
Your father was a missionary, is that right?
He was a missionary, but then he was a vicar in Oxfordshire, so my childhood was spent in a nice big Georgian vicarage.
And he spoke lots of languages?
He spoke about 30 languages, yes.
And so how many languages do you speak, John?
I speak almost no languages, no. I've got a working knowledge of a few just to travel around with.
You didn't quite start out as a journalist.
No, I nearly did. I had a choice, really, either between journalism or being a comedian, a comic actor. And I thought, no, I better be a journalist. And then Alan Bennett saw me in a review in Edinburgh, the Edinburgh Festival, and asked me to be in his comedy series. So I had to jack in the journalistic job I was going to, and instead became a comic actor briefly. But that was my first job in the BBC, was in Night Entertainment, appearing with Alan in 6 of his shows, which were his only sketch shows on television. Did
you achieve everything you wanted to achieve as a political journalist?
No, I don't think you always do that, because you wake up in the morning and you think, goodness me, what's going to happen? And so there's always still that sense, I wish I was there, or I would like to ask that. I don't think that leaves you. So it's not a sense of, oh, I've done it, been there. And I never thought that. No, I was always thinking, well, this is a moment when you could ask that. I still feel that.
What was the best bit about being a political broadcaster?
The best bit was always, I suppose, meeting people who were having an enormous effect on the public, and Margaret Thatcher being the obvious example. And you did get extraordinarily close to them. You could hear them breathe, see them, and you'd be right up close. And often with her, she'd put a hand out to greet you at a reception, and you would then reply, and if you were boring, she'd pull you, and the next moment you'd be talking to Dennis. I mean, so you were very, very close to these people, and that was fun.
I was going to actually ask you, was it hard reporting on people that you knew pretty well?
No, I mean, they kept their distance, and my rule was don't invite them home. I didn't have politicians at home. We didn't have soirees in Ealing.
What was the most challenging bit about being a broadcaster?
I think the most challenging bit is really when you've got a story that happens quickly, and you've got to know a lot of facts, particularly on television, where you can't have notes, and you can suddenly think, oh, I just can't remember this, which is the sequence of events. So it helps if you've got a very strong short-term memory, but that can be worrying, because the moment you start looking down, what are you going to look at? And people want to know, are you across the story? So you've got to have the story in your mind before you can explain it to other people.
Was there a big pressure to the job?
No, the pressure was to perform, and then afterwards you would think, oh, maybe that was all right. So the satisfaction would often be looking back, thinking, did I really manage to say all that? Did I put that together? And was I surprisingly eloquent? And that sort of takes you by surprise. But it can sometimes happen in the middle of a big story and you're outside number 10 and you think, you know what, I said something then which I didn't even think of before I started. And that was very exciting.
Was it hard being neutral?
No, not particularly, because you're so wrapped up in the problems of explaining the story. You don't think, you know what, I like Margaret Thatcher, I want her to do well. How can I frame this story so she comes out of it well? Because you often don't know. The Falklands started as a shambles, and she turned out to be the great heroine of the Falklands. Well, you wouldn't have known that. So you stay with the story. So being neutral in the sense of keeping to the events and explaining the events is, in that sense, comparatively easy.
Would you say that you're a showman at heart, a performer?
Yes, I'm a performer, of course I am. I want to show off. I mean, that's bound to be the case, isn't it? And also, if it suits you physically, if you respond well to that kind of physical pressure, you do things which surprise yourself and you think, actually, that is me at my best.
You do radio and TV.
Yes.
Which do you prefer?
Radio can be wonderful if you're trying to get across an idea and you want people to really think about something. Television can be irritating because people are going to say, oh, has he lost weight or hasn't he lost weight? What's that behind him? There's always that problem.
5 seconds ago, do you look back at the Strictly experience with fond memories?
It's fun. It was very good fun.
And that is 5 minutes. 5 minutes with John Sargent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.